Hi guys, Tciman here, back again in the middle of winter. Got a little project we got to work on. Well, we got a few projects on the hot rod. We're still working on the DLR Roadster. It's been kind of stalled for a while. We'll be getting back on that. The Model A rear shocks are pretty old. The bushings have cracked and have fallen out, so they're banging around. So this winter I'm gonna go for a complete new pair of shocks and coilovers. I might try to lighten up the spring a little bit. I think they're 180s on there. I'm gonna try more like 150s and see how those work out. So now we're gonna attempt to get the old shocks off the car, take some measurements, and get some new items on order. So first of all, we got to pull this bottom bolt out of the shocks. The top one is way up in there. That's going to be kind of tough to work on, but we got to get the bottom one loose first. I've got the nut off the back side. This is a 15/16 bolt, and I have to adjust the body height to take pressure off of that bolt before it'll come out of there. So I'll get the nut off of it, but it's still pretty tight in there. So I'm going to slowly jack the body up to the point where the bolt becomes loose enough to remove. So let's bring the body up just a little bit. Check that bolt. It's still pretty tight. I'm going to let it down a little bit, make sure it's not gone too far. I see some movement there, so maybe we're close to the right spot. Let's put a wrench on there. It's moving a little bit. Now it's starting to lift the back wheel, so we got to come down a little bit. That might be too far. Well, I'm going to turn it off, turn the camera off, and find the right spot, and then I'll pick this back up. Okay, I think I've hit the right spot here. The bolt is getting pretty loose in there. There we go. Take that all right out of there. Now we're going to work on the other side. I've got to get a block right in here for the body to come down and sit on. Let me go get a couple of blocks, one for each side. Okay, I have removed the nut on the other side and got the jack at the right height so that I can slip the bolt out like that. Now this side is loose, so I'm going to set a block right in here so the body can come down against the rear end, and set the block back over on the other side and lower the body down. All right, the blocks are in place. Let's lower the body. Okay, good on this side. Go over here and check the other side. Yeah, I think the block's a little crooked. I think I'll go back up and adjust that block. That's better. Okay, let's bring it down. Okay, I think we can remove the jack and safely work underneath now. Here's what I'm up against. There's a long bolt holding the top of the shock in place, and it was all mounted before the body was on the frame. So when I put the floorboards in the trunk, I used these cake pans to build out an area for the shocks. So now that long bolt is not coming out of there unless I cut away part of the trunk. Got a lot of work ahead of me. Empty out the trunk, see where we got to cut, plan some cuts, and go at it from there. So what I've done is pull all the junk out of this trunk. Needed a good cleaning anyway. Here's the cake pans that I used to rise the floor around the shock. This one in the center for the rear end housing. And this is the right side cake pan. Sorry about that. Battery went dead in the camera. So here's what we got. We're gonna make a cut along this line so that we can remove the bolt. Same on the other side. And then I'm gonna have to rework this section of metal so that I can put it back together. We also have a lot of noise back here. I'm gonna try to beef all this up, eliminate the rattle that I get. It's probably a lot of the noise that I get when I'm riding down the road. Gas tank is in there good and solid, so but this has got to be banging away every time I hit a bump. So we're going to work on that along with these floors and getting the shocks off. Okay, as you can see right now, I've cut the top of that baking pan off. And there's the mounting bolts for the top of the shock. So now I can get at those. And I think what I'm going to be able to do is take another baking pan and refit it over the opening. Put a couple zip screws in there, and that'll cover the hole back up. Then I have access to it in the future. So now I got access to the bolt, and I'm going to proceed to loosen it up, take it out of there. Okay, I took the bolt out of the top and dropped the shock out down through the bottom, and you can see the condition of these grommets. Pretty broken up. Now we'll take some measurements. Actually, these were 175s. I thought they were 180 pounds, but they're 175 pound springs. I'm going to go down to about a 150. And these are 11 inches. They should have been a 12-inch spring. As you can see, they're adjusted all the way up to make them work. So take some measurements and get some new coilovers on order. Meanwhile, you got to go to the other side and start doing some cutting so we can remove that one. Okay, we got the other shock off, and you can see the bushing on that one is really in tough condition. Really bad. So these shocks were rattling all over the place every time I hit a bump. One other thing I wanted to do while we're waiting for shocks to come in, my underneath stoplight needs to come off and be painted. It's getting a little rough around the edges, the back casing. So we're going to take this off, take it apart, paint that all up, get it back on. But that's going to be for the next video, so stay tuned.